Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another Nerd Mode. This being a show, I introduce you to a series that you may or may not be familiar with. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the AMC original series, Kevin Can F Himself. Like always, this isn't a review, it's just me talking about a series that I really like that I recommend you check out for yourself. Kevin Can F Himself is a dark comedy drama that follows our main character, Allison, who is married to the titular character, Kevin himself. Allison has had to make a lot of sacrifices in her life, and Kevin hasn't really made that any easier. In fact, he's proven time and time again to be a constant headache in her life. He's pretty much your stereotypical idiot frat boy. He can be extremely selfish and inconsiderate to a lot of people around him, but especially when it comes to Allison, because when it comes to her, he can be extremely dismissive. While he goes off and does whatever he wants, Allison is the one that's kind of stuck picking up the pieces, and she has to be the responsible one, which that is only amplified even more when you throw in Kevin's family into that mix. All of which, much like Kevin, they have a tendency to kind of dogpile on Allison and not even realizing they're doing anything wrong. Time and time again, Allison has to sacrifice her goals, her dreams, her own happiness, until Allison finally has enough and she wants Kevin dead, and she's willing to do anything to make that happen. Without spoiling it, let's just say Allison sets a lot of things in motion to make that a reality. However, things severely spiral out of control into a major shit show. Will Allison be able to rein things back in? Will she finally be able to get rid of Kevin and gain her freedom, finally heading towards that happily ever after? You'll just have to watch the show and find out. A really amazing thing about this series is how it shifts between a sitcom aesthetic to a straight up drama aesthetic. And I don't mean that in a metaphorical sense, I mean that literally. Anytime Kevin is in a scene, the show turns into a literal sitcom with like a laugh track and everything. However, the moment Kevin leaves a scene, the show shifts over into a drama. The series actually does a really good job conveying that visually, because both are filmed very distinctly. And what's really interesting about it too is that this isn't some fourth wall breaking thing where the characters are aware of it. It is just simply a storytelling aesthetic. Plays into the notion that during these sitcom elements, Allison is kind of playing this role of kind of like your stereotypical sitcom wife. Playing this role of how other people see her, as well as how she kind of perceives herself as well. Whereas outside of this sitcom, the more drama elements, we get to see Allison kind of just being herself. Which this doesn't just apply to Allison, we do see this kind of happen with other characters as well. This aesthetic as a whole really lends itself very nicely to the dark comedy angles of the show. Being this funny, jokey sitcom and then going over into the more darker elements, but what's also interesting though is that elements from both sides of the show do bleed over into each other, adding even more layers to the overall darker elements of the show. All in all, it creates, well, using my favorite word lately, an interesting juxtaposition for both the tones and genres. The second and final season of Kevin Can F Himself premieres on August 22nd. Really, that's all I'm going to talk about. Until the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.